Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of All Things EGOT. My name is Portia West.
And I'm Maury Ritchie. Today, we'll talk about the Tony Award nominations and get predictions for some of the main categories from theater critic Bryson Boyd.
Plus, we'll welcome back arts enthusiast Dave Bell as we take a deeper look into EGOT by the numbers.
But first, we begin with a look at the career of EGOTer number 4, Sir John Gielgud.
One of England's most prolific actors, John Gielgud, was also the first non-American to reach EGOT status. Gielgud was classically trained and played numerous roles in the Shakespeare canon to critical acclaim, but it was his leadership as director of the play Big Fish, Little Fish on Broadway that earned him the Tony for Best Director of a Drama in 1961. 18 years later, Gielgud's performance in audio recordings of speeches from the Shakespeare play called Ages of Man secured him the Grammy for Best Spoken Word, Documentary, or Drama recording in 1979. Gielgud played many strong dramatic roles for the big screen, but it was his nuanced role as the butler Hobson opposite Dudley Moore's lovable drunk in the comedy Arthur that earned him the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor in 1981. It's a role he was reluctant to take. In fact, he turned it down twice. Gielgud's performance in the British miniseries called Summer's Lease for PBS's Masterpiece Theatre earned him an Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actor in a miniseries or series in 1991. Sir Gielgud's career spanned 8 decades. He saw the theater in particular as, quote, more than an occupation or profession. For me, it has been a life, unquote. He died in 2000 at the age of 96. His performances are a masterclass in the craft of acting. These details were obtained from wikipedia.org. For All Things EGOT, this is Jason Raymaker.
Thanks to our guest narrator, Jason Raymaker. If you'd like to be a part of our show as a guest narrator, send us an email at allthingsegot@gmail.com and type narrator in the subject line. It's time to talk Tonys.
Joining us live from New York, we welcome entertainment journalist Bryson Boyd to the show to give us his predictions on some of the main categories. Hi, Bryson.
Hi, guys.
So Bryson, does the Big Apple rival Hollywood's Oscar excitement during Tony season?
It really does, especially in ticket sales. Forbes magazine reported a 543% increase in ticket sales 1 week after the nominations of Best Musical nominee, The Band Visits, and 143 bounce for the Best Musical nominee, Mean Girls.
Wow, that's amazing. Speaking of Mean Girls, do you think the film to stage shows are going to continue?
Absolutely. It's been a win-win for Disney for almost 2 decades now, with shows like Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and this season Frozen. You can bet more are on the way.
Well, let's find out your predictions for the main categories, starting with Best Play. The nominees for Best Play are The Children by Lucy Kirkwood, Farinelli and the King by Claire Van Kampen, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Parts 1 and 2 by Jack Thorne, Junk by Ayed Akhtar, and Latin History of Morons, John Leguizamo.
So Harry Potter and the Cursed Child Parts 1 and 2 is my prediction, guys. It's been a really big season for movie to stage productions, and Harry Potter's reviews have been absolutely stellar. So I'm putting a lot of faith into this production.
Next up, Best Musical. The Tony nominees for Best Musical are The Band Visit, Frozen, Mean Girls, and SpongeBob SquarePants the Musical.
This is a tough category, especially with 3 of pop culture's most iconic projects, Frozen, Mean Girls, and SpongeBob. But my choice is SpongeBob SquarePants the Musical, mostly because of all the reviews that I've read, which have been stellar, and the fact that I saw it myself and it took me right back to my childhood.
How about Best Revival of a Play? The nominees for Best Revival of a Play are Angels in America, Edward Albee's Three Tall Women, Eugene O'Neill's The Iceman Cometh, Lobby Hero, and Travesties.
Angel in America will win Best Revival of a Play, I think, because when I saw it 2 weeks ago, I was amazed by how much the play is saying in today's society. Even though we're a bit away from the AIDS crisis from the 80s, I think it's really saying something right now, too.
The next category looks like another tough one, Best Revival of a Musical. The nominees for Best Revival of a Musical are My Fair Lady, Once on This Island, and Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel.
These shows are exceptional, Maury, but I think my pick will be My Fair Lady. Lauren Ambrose, which I mean, I'll talk about her later. I love her anyways, and her performance in this play is pretty outstanding. So I'm gonna go with My Fair Lady.
Well, they say it all starts with a story. So let's check out the Best Book of a Musical nominees. The nominees for Best Book of a Musical are The Band's Visit, Itamar Moses, Frozen, Jennifer Lee, Mean Girls, Tina Fey, and SpongeBob SquarePants, the musical, Kyle Jarrow.
Tina Fey is my choice, Portia. This category is really hard for me to determine because I really love SpongeBob and I really love Mean Girls, but I thought it might be fitting Tina Fey the award because I mean, Mean Girls does feature the Byrne book, so it would be fitting if she won Best Book for a musical.
Let's talk performances, Bryson. First, Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role in a Play. The nominees for Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role in a Play are Andrew Garfield, Angels in America, Tom Hollander, Travesties, Jamie Parker, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Parts 1 and 2, Mark Rylance, Farinelli and the King, and Denzel Washington, Eugene O'Neill's The Iceman Cometh.
Power performances from these guys, Portia. My choice is Andrew Garfield for Angels in America. I really wanted to give it to Denzel, but I think the chatter around Andrew's performance in Angels is really strong, so I think that he has a really good chance at it.
It's a very interesting group in the category of Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role in a Play. The nominees for Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role in a Play are Glenda Jackson, Edward Albee's Three Tall Women, Condola Rashad, St. Joan, Lauren Ridloff, Children of a Lesser God, and Amy Schumer, Meteor Shower.
Maury, Glenda Jackson owns this category. I love all the Edward Albee revivals that have been happening this season on and off Broadway, and I really think she shined in this role.
What about the musical performances? The nominees for Best Performance by an Actor in a Musical Lead are Harry Haddon Patton, My Fair Lady, Joshua Henry, Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel, Tony Shalhoub, The Band's Visit, and Ethan Slater, SpongeBob SquarePants, the musical.
My choice is Ethan Slater, Portia. Ethan's performance in SpongeBob has been lauded very heavily, and so I think that he probably has the best chance at this award.
Let's see the nominees for Best Lead Actress in a Musical. The nominees for Best Performance by an Actress Lead in a Musical are Lauren Ambrose, My Fair Lady, Haley Kilgore, Once on This Island, LaChance, Summer, the Donna Summer Musical, Katrina Lenk, The Band's Visit, Taylor Louderman, Mean Girls, and Jesse Mueller, Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel.
6 great performances from 6 strong women. I'm going to go with Lauren Ambrose. Earlier, I said how much I love Lauren. I think that I've been in love with her since 6 Feet Under, but she really shines on stage, and so I'm going to give it to her.
The nominees for Best Direction of a Play are Marianne Elliott, Angels in America, Joe Montello, Edward Albee's Three Tall Women, Patrick Marber, Travesties, John Tiffany, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, Parts 1 and 2, and George C. Wolfe, Eugene O'Neill's The Iceman Cometh.
My choice for this category is Project Martyr for travesties. I love the direction for Angels in America, so that would be my second choice. But I'm really going to give it to Patrick because I think his work really shined in this production.
So who do you think will win the most hardware, Bryson?
I think that Angels in America will have the most hardware. The revival has been really strong this season. The performances are really strong. The direction, the whole production is really outstanding. So I would give it to them.
Well, the Tonys will air June 3rd on CBS, and we'll have you back to discuss the results.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Representation and inclusion have become buzzwords in the entertainment industry again. From television and music to film and theater, insiders say the time has come to bring about change once and for all.
When we look at the demographics of the 12 EGOTers, the ethnic breakdown is as follows: 9 white, 2 Latino, and 1 black. The gender breakdown: 9 men, 3 women.
We've invited Dave Bell, host of the new web series At the Show, back to discuss these numbers and what they really mean. Hi, Dave, and congrats on At the Show.
Hi, Portia and Maury. Thanks, glad to be back.
Dave, on the last episode, we mentioned that there are a dozen or so artists that were only 1 award away from having the EGOT. Well, we need to correct that because there are 30 performers, and that list includes amazing artists like Quincy Jones.
Yes, Jones was nominated 7 times for the Oscar from 1968 through 1986. Some of those nominations were for Best Original Score in 1968 for In Cold Blood, and in 1986 for The Color Purple. Also, Best Adapted Score for The Wiz in 1979, and 2 additional Color Purple nominations, one for Best Original Song, the second for Producer. So it's quite possible that had there been more diversity in the members of the voting academy back then, Jones would be an EGOTer.
It's obvious the entertainment industry truly does have a way to go for equity and inclusion.
Yes, this winter, Variety magazine published a report by Dr. Darnell Hunt of UCLA that stated, in both film and television, women and minorities remain notably underrepresented in every arena in 2016. The report also states, quote, "The conventional wisdom in the film industry has been that black films don't travel, and this notion has posed a long-standing obstacle to advancing diversity in Hollywood," unquote.
Well, looking at recent hits like Girls Trip, Hidden Figures, the Fast and Furious series, and now Black Panther, I hope that myth has been squashed once and for all.
I absolutely agree, Portia. Representation is important, and film studios need to embrace that. If minorities make up 40% of the population, then greater effort to have diversity in the stories, the talent in front and behind the cameras should be made. In 2016, minority film leads made up 13.9%, film directors 12.6%, film writers 8.1%, broadcast scripted leads 18.7%, and cable scripted leads 20.2%. The numbers for women are better in some areas and worse in others. Film leads 31.2%, film directors 6.9%, film writers 13.8%, broadcast scripted leads 35.7%, and cable scripted leads 44.8%.
What about the Great White Way? No pun intended.
Well, Maury, Broadway's numbers are improving. The Asian American Performers Action Coalition, or AAPAC, releases a report annually on ethnic representation on New York stages. And the numbers recorded for the 2015-2016 season were a record high. 35% of roles on New York stages went to minorities.
Yes, the AAPAC has shared their data with the American Theater Wing, a century-old organization that provides grants, scholarships, and partnerships to preserve theater. And they plan to incorporate more initiatives this year to improve diversity in the theater.
Now let's talk music. Last year, the Annenberg Inclusion Initiative took a hard look at the music industry and inclusion in popular music. What were their findings, Dave?
Across 6 years of the pop charts, female artists account for only 22% of all artists. And in 2017, 12% of songwriters were women. Only 2% of music producers are women. That's 49 males to every 1 female. And across 300 songs, only 2 female producers of color appeared across that sample. Dr. Stacy L. Smith of the Annenberg Initiative states that 42% of all artists are from underrepresented racial or ethnic groups, which is higher than the numbers we saw for theater, film, and television. However, if we look at the Grammys from 2013 to 2018, 90.7% of the nominations were male and 9.3% were female.
Well, I applaud the Annenberg Institute for bringing these statistics to the forefront.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dave, for sharing this info with us. And best of luck with your program at the show.
Thanks.
We'd like to thank Bryson Boyd, Dave Bell, and our guest narrator, Jason Raymaker.
Next time, Bryson will be back and we'll see how he did with his Tony predictions. And fashion critic Patrick Mays returns to review the hits and misses from the Tony's red carpet.
Thanks for watching.
Peace.